Okay, so let me give you a brief overview of this assignment. We have the cylinder, the box, the cylinder, the box, and the sphere created, and they're basic primitives, right? They're here on the create menu, and you go on standard primitives. Here's the box, here's the cylinder, and the sphere. So it's the first three primitives. The next thing we need to do, is to add UV mapping, and then the third thing we'll do is add the checker map, and finally produce the render templates that we need to produce for the classroom submission. Okay, so let's start with adding UV mapping to each of these. If we go to the Modify tab over here, you click on each of the items, you're going to see the sphere attributes, the cylinder attributes, the parameters over here. We can, let's say, go on the modifiers and on the UV coordinate section. We have two main modifiers that we can use for this assignment. You can use the UVW Map and the unwrap UVW. The UVW Map has the basic shapes that you need for like geometry, simple geometry, like what we have on the scene. Unwrap works better for more complex geometry, like a vehicle, a character, a sword, and something that is not just a primitive shape. Okay, so that's the main difference between the two. And also the unwrap allows you the ability to also export the UV layout that you can paint with Photoshop and bring back that texture, and then it's placed over the surface of the geometry of your character or of your vehicle, and then corresponds to the geometry as it is on the UV template, okay, on the unwrap. So what I would suggest to do for this assignment to make it easier is to start with the UVW map, and you're going to see here the basic different options that you have. What you do is you pretty much match the geometry you're mapping with the shapes here to see which one matches closest. And in this case, we have the cylinder right here with the cap. Make sure you turn the cap on so that the UV modifier understands that there's a top and a bottom on the geometry, okay? And then after that, you can put a UV coordinate again, unwrap UVW modifier. And that is the UV, the unwrap UVW will give you the template, okay? So let's go open UV editor, and let's take a look at what's happening here. I'm going to turn off the texture over here on this icon over here so that you can only see the UVs. And you see my middle mouse, I'm just kind of zooming out. And the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to go on face mode and see what's happening. Once you start doing that, let me show you on the viewport. As you highlight faces on here, you're going to see them highlighted also on the viewport, which is one of the beauties of using this method. Okay, that way you know which area you're looking at on the UV editor window. So the next thing I'm going to do is I want to separate the UVs from the top from the UVs on the side. If you notice, everything seems that overlapping over here. When I say overlapping is that we aim to have those green borders on the square surface, which is the middle part over here, separate from the top and bottom, so that way we can map them individually, okay, not overlapping. Everything that I put in this area will be read by every UV that is in there, which means that most of the geometry will have it, okay? So I am going to go on the UV editor window, and I'm going to click here, select by element, and I'm going to click on that part that is like the middle part, and I'm just going to move it away, okay? And then I'm going to middle mouse again and drag with the middle mouse to reposition. So when we come back on the next video, I'm going to show you how to place these, and we'll continue.